Hey, Giggles. Brenda. Frank. Jody. Jody, Frank, same person. Good morning, Jim. How's everybody doing today? Good, I hope. It's been a rainy day. It's going to be a rainy day tonight, today, tomorrow. Just yucky. Boone doesn't like it, but it is what it is. He keeps wanting to go out, and then he comes in, and I have to dry him all off. And then I got my doctor's appointment at 1 o'clock. I think it's at 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock down in Marysville. It's I got to drive the other side of town, but yeah, maybe I can get a time frame on this pain and stuff. Jim, how are you feeling? Better, I hope. Boone's right here. Boone, you don't want to go out. I know you want to go out, but it's raining outside. I'm gonna let him out. We'll see what happens. Let you goofball. You don't listen to me, do you? You should be listening to me. Instead of being Mr. Stubborn. Go ahead. Go potty. Hey, Lance Cardina.
Morning, Paul.
Hey, good morning, Lance. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
You on your way to work?
I am. Just pulled out of the garage. It's on Wednesdays we start late. The kids do. So
Oh,
I don't have
really?
kids. I don't have kids till 10 o'clock, and it's 6 o'clock now. I'm gonna stop and fly somewhere, meeting a buddy of mine.
How's the weather?
Oh, you wouldn't believe how beautiful it is up
Oh,
here.
it's just rainy, nasty here.
Oh, is it? Yeah. And actually, it's overcast here. It's been raining. It's going to get nicer as the weekend gets closer. So
Yeah, we're supposed to stay in this rain period for the next several days. I don't know. We'll
so
see.
you didn't fly, I take it this morning then, huh?
No, no.
Yeah.
It started raining last night at about 8 o'clock, and it's still raining on and off now.
Okay. Did you how many of Air 2S batteries do you have?
Air 2S?
Yeah, don't you have the Air 2S?
Yes, I got 4 batteries that I rotate, and I
Okay.
got 3 or 4 more batteries that are starting to get a little puffy.
Okay. And do you do you risk it ever with those puffy ones, or do you just say no? Only in
No,
an
I don't
emergency.
fly them. They're just sitting over on the table.
Okay. And how long have you had those batteries, do you think? The puppy ones.
Let me see if they've got a date on them. Hold on, let me look.
Okay. Because I bought a used Air 2S, about a year and a half ago. Remember that. And but I haven't flown the Air 2S in a couple of months. I need to strap that sphere on it and go fly it sometime. It's a nice little drone.
Okay, this is October 20 of 21.
Oh, that's not long at all. Only 4 years. My gosh.
October 21 here,
Okay.
and October 21 here.
Okay. I'll have to take a look at the year of mine. I don't know what they are.
I'm going to stick them on a charger, see if they charge up. All 3 of them are on the charger, and they seem to be charging up.
Yeah. I've only had one battery that I think is swelled, and it was on my Mavic 2 Pro, and it doesn't look like it's swollen, but I fly it for about 5 minutes, and I land it, and it looks like it's ready to pop out. I mean, it's expanded inside the
Oh yeah, okay.
inside the casing of the drone. So I'm thinking that battery is bad. So I haven't flown that battery in a couple years, but I thought, it was so hard to get out. Every time I probably flew it that way maybe 3, 4 times, and every time I landed it and I saw that, I thought, well, I'm going to change batteries. And so I tried to pull it out, and it was really snug. It was like, it just doesn't come out. So, but after it cools down and I set it on the table, and it's supposed to swell on the bottom, so it bows a little bit,
Yep.
and it's completely flat, and it's like, well, what's going on? I should probably look in the software and see what it says. I don't know if it gives you an error in the software or not.
I don't know. I've never plugged them into any into the software, so I don't know.
I don't know, and I try to rotate my batteries. I'm sure we all do. But it'd be interesting to see what my 3 Avata batteries, which one I've used the most. They're going to be fairly equal, but not completely, I'm sure. And you can look at that in the DJI software. Times you've charged it, I guess. I don't know if that's always used it, but charged it, I guess.
Yeah, here's Justin.
So,
Morning, Justin.
good morning.
Got about a week left, huh?
Technically it'd be 3.5 days. When I go
Yeah,
back on Friday.
He goes back on Friday, but then he's off for Memorial Day.
Oh no, I go
you
back
doing
Friday. Do I?
Are you doing the happy dance?
Yeah. I know the schools do when we go to leave on the bus. It's hilarious. All the teachers get out in front of the school. During Christmas break, they sang the song, goodbye. They were all out there dancing. They had that blasting on a big old Bluetooth speaker.
That's cool.
Yeah, I go back Friday, and then we have obviously the 3 days off of Memorial Day, and then I go back for 2.5 days, and then they're out.
And you guys start in mid-August?
Yeah, sometime in August. Yeah, it's like the mid to like the second or third week of August. I think it's the third week of August.
Now, did you start this job middle of this year sometime?
It was closer to the beginning of the year.
Uh-huh.
It was like a month and a half after the last school year started, or
Okay.
this school year started. So
And
you started in what, October?
it was like the last week of September.
Okay.
and the general population buses don't have a U, do they?
No.
There is no escort on a regular public bus. Yeah,
No, on a regular bus that's not ESC now. There's
Yeah.
not a attendant.
So you're mostly, I would think, in case there's an emergency with a kid, probably that would be a bigger case for you. Would be a kid goes into some type of a shock or something, or
Yeah, we had to go through first aid and CPR training, which I already had both certificates for both of them, but they wanted to do their own certificates. So I ended up with 2 certifications in each one.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much all you have to take for that. But you have a
Nice.
list of like kids with their certain allergies and stuff.
Yeah. And maybe
Honestly,
epilepsy and that type of thing.
Yeah, and honestly, to be honest, our bus doesn't have like a bunch of crazy shit like that. Like we have the one wheelchair kid, but he doesn't have any kind of like anything outside of that, right? He's just
Yeah.
confined to his chair from something that happened when he was born. And then we have a couple of kids, but when you talk to them and everything, they don't have any like listed anything. But when you talk to them, you would think they were regular kids. Like they
Yeah.
don't show or seem any kind of off, but they're marked as ESC. But there's some buses that will have 2 or 3 different kids with wheelchairs. They'll have 2 or 3 kids in harnesses that are strapped to the seats. Like they have a whole bunch of kids. Because there's some kids that wear harnesses and you're not allowed to. They cannot be on their own. So you have to hold on to them the entire time, and you have to hand them off to somebody. And when they get on the bus, you have to hold on to them until they get all the way to their seat, put them down, and then you got to strap them into the seat with a special harness strap that goes around the whole seat. Because the minute you let them go, they'll take off running. They call them
Yeah.
runners.
Yeah. They call them runners. I got a runner.
What's up, Dusty,
My wife-
Jim?
My wife says that, she teaches first grade. I've got 3 runners this year. They'll take off on
What's up, TJ? Oh, TJ's coming
TJ.
in.
Mr. Walmart. Morning, Brenda.
What's up, Brenda? Oh, I didn't see Brenda in there. Yeah, there she is. She got lost between everybody else. As that's like every time they put TJ on the bus, they're like, "You gotta hold him." I'm like, "You walk with me."
Anthony.
I told him, I said, "You walk with me, little buddy, not on your own."
A supply of duct tape.
Hey Lance, where
Yeah.
does it say the date on these batteries? I've never really looked at that before.
Well, TJ, if you use the noggin, on mine, I have put a number of the battery, like number 1 through 3, 4, 5, and I
Yeah.
have the date on it.
Oh.
You
So
know,
you
one
wrote
of
the
those,
date.
one of those little white strips that you print off and you stick it on the battery.
Yeah.
Well, I
It
thought
does.
it was printed on
wouldn't
the
say.
back.
It wouldn't say it like on the
No,
label.
it doesn't. It doesn't say it on the battery.
Okay.
Dusty, we actually have a high school here. It's a middle and high school, and that's all the kids that go there are special needs. So you got to look in your area and see if they have one of those. Because a lot of school districts will have a school just for that. Just like they'll have a school just for really badass kids too. Like our school district, Don Woods is considered the really bad school. That's where all the kids like that go to juvenile hall and have fucking ankle monitors and shit.
TJ, here's
That's
what
where they
I
all
do.
go.
Oh, okay. But like,
And
how
Paul-
do you
How do
what,
I?
do you just randomly just select a battery?
That's the date.
Like this was like on
That was
mine.
the date
This,
it was
I could label
service.
I could label this number 1 if I wanted to, or
Yeah.
whatever.
See, mine are all labeled all through 6.
Well, technically,
Right.
TJ, you should be doing that the minute you purchase the drone and
That's
you get the
right.
batteries.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing to do, TJ. Every time is number them and then try to rotate them as best you can. There are times I just grab one and it's like,
Makes it
okay,
easier
now-
when you're
now I'm out of
rotating.
the-
Yep.
but for the most part, I try to rotate.
Yeah, I don't know, Dusty. 'Cause every district's different, buddy.
Like right now, I in my drone is number 10, and then I go back to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I mean,
You would think
every
that they would print the date. You would think they would print the date on the back of the, on the label underneath.
Here comes Donald.
That's what I was looking for.
see what you got to do, TJ, is as you're getting new batteries, replacing old ones. That's when you got to start. You've already used your batteries so much. I mean, you could go into the. I think you can go into the DJI settings and look at the.
You can plug it in. Yep, you can check.
No. I'm saying you can look into the amount of usages it's been through and everything.
Yeah, how many cycles? Yeah.
Well,
And
so
it-
you
and
could do that, TJ, and then you could mark them and try to stay on it that way. I guess.
And like Don
Yeah.
says, it's cycles. It's not necessarily use. I might I might leave my batteries in my case for 6 months and never use them, but then I have to charge them up when I do use them because they dropped 2 bars or something. So
Yeah.
it's
Now,
not
TJ,
necessarily, but it's
When-
cycles.
when I got the Air 3S, what I did, first thing I did was number my batteries and number where they went in my hub.
Yeah.
And then I put Velcro dots here and then a little colored Velcro piece that will go to the last battery used.
Oh.
So I always know if the dot's here,
Can
this
you
is
get
the one
off
I'm going
of
to
me?
use, and I'll use this battery. And when this battery is used up, I'll move it over here and I'll use this battery. And that way,
Oh, gotcha.
I always keep my
that system
battery
is
cycled.
that's the system that Don has invented is called Dots Nice.
No
yeah,
dots.
it's
man.
Dot's nice. Dot's very nice. But that way I know I'm cycling,
Yeah.
I'm using my batteries evenly,
I don't. I mean,
and they'll probably all wear out at the same time.
I guess the Air 2 and the Air 2S batteries are the same. I mean, they fit both drones, so I mean, it would be the same.
It's like, have you heard of the Donna Bat method? It's a
But-
double battery method.
I would if you got a new battery to put into your flow, I wouldn't use it exclusively to get it down to the other batteries. I would just continue using the batteries evenly.
And even if your
That way,
batteries,
each battery is being used routinely.
Yeah, are you around?
Yeah, well, because like I'll put a battery in when it.
Till 6.
Okay,
You,
because
you muted TJ.
doctor's appointment at 1 o'clock, so I'll be leaving here about
so-
12.
okay, but also too, you gotta remember, if like,
The one-
say you throw your batteries on a charger, because
Yeah.
you think you're gonna go fly the next day and all of a sudden you don't, and then they sit in your case and discharge, that's considered a cycle. Cause you did put them through the charger.
Yeah, because I
It
put the
might have
drone up
not
a
been
little
under
bit-
load, but
Yeah, I put the drone up a little bit earlier this morning to get a sunrise picture, but the sunrise picture didn't really come out as good as I had wanted it to. So I got to make sure all my batteries were charged. I mean, they still are. This one's fully charged. So I mean,
yeah, but they only take like, what is it, 3 days or a week to discharge, and they go down to what, was it 70 or 30%?
probably like 70 or 30, I guess.
I think it's 70% they discharge down to.
Is it 70 or 30? I don't know. 70 or 30, I guess.
Yeah, good answer, TJ. Son of a bitch.
That is an answer that a kid uses in school that doesn't know what the fuck is going on in history class.
Yeah, that's I use those words all the time. Like if somebody asks me something, I'll be like, "Yeah, I guess." I mean,
They're like,
maybe it is.
Can you tell us
Maybe
who
it is.
signed the Magna Carta? The Magna Carta was signed by a person, I guess, who needed to sign the Magna Carta.
I think so. I'm not really sure. I think it is. I think.
TJ gets asked by a customer, do you have this product or this one?
I think so. I think we have, and I do that. I think, but follow me, and I'll show you where it is if we have it.
See, you're not supposed to be like,
See, like if somebody,
I think
like,
you're supposed to
if
say,
if I know that we have it, I'll be like, yeah, it's down there on aisle 12 or 13.
yeah,
or
but you're
something.
not supposed to give the customer a sense of doubt. You say, let me go check on that for you and see if we have it.
Yeah. And I have done that, and I would go to where the location is because we have those little zebra things, and so like I'll scan it and to see, and because it tells us
Barcodes?
that we have. What is it?
Barcode?
Yeah, the barcode. Yeah.
Zebra things.
See, the problem. Oh fuck! Here we go.
That's funny.
You got him going.
That's like you were saying the other day how Walmart Donald has like one of the most advanced ordering systems.
Mhm.
It's not the system. People always yell at Walmart's system. It's not the system that screws it up, it's people. System works great.
That's funny. Oh, that's pretty good. But yeah, it tells you like if we have anything in stock or whatever. So I'll go in the back in the stock room to see if we have it. And sometimes we'll have it, sometimes we don't. So
Well, see, like I said, companies' ordering systems work perfectly fine. It's humans that fuck it up. So you'll have something bend in the back, and instead of unbending it and putting it on the shelf, some people just go grab it, and then the system thinks it's still sitting
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
that's where inventory gets screwed up. It's not their system.
Inventory requires the human interaction to be perfect. Well, you also have your revisions. You can change your own counts if somebody notices a mistake, but
And then sometimes counts will get, somebody will count and think they counted correctly, and they're trying to do the job correctly, but then a case ends up being shoved behind something else and they didn't know it was there. Yeah, that's it's
I should probably get a job there at SeaWorld, but that's kind of a far drive, though.
SeaWorld.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
SeaWorld's in Orlando, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty far for you. That'd be a fucking 2-hour drive each way every day.
yeah.
I could see him working with the walruses.
That would not be worth it.
You're liable to get a family discount there.
Dude, people waste so much money working at Disney, living where I live at. It's an hour drive each way every day.
That's funny.
Yeah, people will go all the way to Disney from where I live at, and they'll spend anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half, depending on traffic. Just to
Yeah,
get to
but
work from there.
what you don't know is how much they're paying them.
Disney don't pay all that well.
Well, it
standard
depends
jobs.
on what position you are.
That's yeah, but most of the people I've met that do that are working standard jobs at like might be
I
like
heard
a,
Disney pays $15 to $25 an hour.
yeah, but it's still not worth the wear and tear and the gas that you put on your car going back and forth every day. It really isn't.
I don't
Not a
think
lot.
I don't think TJ, you're not making $25 an hour, are you?
No, I mean I'm close to it. I mean 18 an hour and being in upper management. So I guess I mean that's close, but
You're not upper management.
Yeah.
I
Upper
know.
management, you'd be salary.
I mean, I guess being a shift lead is kind of upper management, I guess.
No,
No.
that's barely management.
You know you made it into the management scale when they're paying you salary so much a year.
Upper management would be considered your assistant manager and your store manager. That's upper management. Anything below that is just management.
Well, it depends on if you're looking at from the corporate structure.
Like Walmart, whenever you referred to upper management, it was always assistant and higher.
In the store. If you're talking
Yeah.
about upper
Store
management, it's
management,
the people.
yeah.
What
the
is-
people down
what-
in Bentonville.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is
That's a-
shift lead considered as?
Well, then that would be just a regular. That's just management. That's
Yeah,
not-
you're entry level manager.
Store
What is
entry
manager.
level.
what is minimum wage in Florida, guys?
I think it's 11 or 12 an hour. It might be 13 now. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. Most jobs pay anywhere like the lowest paying jobs that I've seen, 13 an hour.
TJ, you ought to go back to college and become a teacher.
But there's other jobs that do pay less though. Because I know the dollar store don't pay shit. They pay like $8 or $9 an hour. That's like one of the lowest paying jobs. But most of your standard jobs start off at 13. Shit, Walmart's pay starts off pretty good now. A lot of employees will start off at 15. And then I think they raised it another $1 to about a year ago. Here, I think.
So in Washington, you have to pay minimum wage. So there you would think that Florida would have a minimum wage number to any Dick, Joe and Harry can pay their employees.
Well, I think most states have a minimum wage.
Yeah, so in Washington, you can't get less than 15 whatever an hour. So I would think that Florida has that same thing. Might be $8 an hour.
Justin, didn't Florida just raise their minimum wage? He's probably looking it up.
And a lot of it dictates the cost of living, I'm sure, because I'm sure California's minimum wage is $20. Who knows what it is, but their cost of living, and same thing in Hawaii, that their minimum wage is a little higher as well, because you got to pay $4.50 for gas a gallon. I'm sure Dre's paying about $5 a gallon.
Here
Yeah,
comes
big
Dre
boy.
now.
Oh, look at that. Speak of the devil.
You only had to say his name one time instead of three.
What are you paying for gas, Dre? $5.15, $5.20?
He there he is.
He's en route. He probably didn't hear the question.
Dre,
What are you
Dre,
paying?
what he is, what Lance is asking you is, what are you paying a gallon of fuel out there?
Regular is still above $4. I put premium in my car, so I'm paying about anywhere between $4.50 to $4.69. But minimum wage is a double-edged sword. Some states do account for the cost of living in their states, but there are other states, and most of them are southern states and some of the far north states, the Dakotas, Montana, whatever, hide behind the federal minimum wage, which is still only about $10 an hour. So a lot of states go off the federal level and then adjust from there. Here in California, minimum wage is, I think, is $18 and $19 an hour.
Yep. And I think we are like at 15 something an hour.
Right. But you'll go down to states like you go over to Montana, Dakotas, still making about
Idaho.
$9-10 an hour
Yeah.
for the same type of work. And then you have states like Florida. I want to say, I know Oregon was that way. Arizona, I believe, what they call right to work states. And it even gets a little trickier in those places. TJ,
Yeah.
I thought you was about to lick your hand, dude. I was gonna smack you right through this damn screen.
No, I'm rubbing my face.
I guess Florida's minimum wage is 13 an hour now, and then it'll go up to 15, $1 each year.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
Started this year, I guess.
yeah, see, I said you couldn't even rent a motor home in California at $13 an hour. Good morning, Brenda. See, Florida's cost of living is not that far behind California. For them only paying minimum wage of $13 an hour is shameful. They should be paying somewhere upwards around 17 for the cost of living in Florida.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how inequitable it is across the country with that. But again, it's, what is the cost of living in that state compared to, and we compare everything to Hawaii and California because they're the two.
Right. Well, I say it's the cost
states.
of living in those areas, but like I said, the federal cost of living needs to be raised. It hasn't been raised in the last 5 to 10 years, because everybody starts at the federal level and adjusts from there. And that's what's sad, that you have people. I remember even back, when I first joined the military in the 80s, guys I knew from the South would talk about the main reason they joined the military because they could make more as a private in the military than what their dads, uncles, and older brother were making down at the chicken factory down the street, working for Tyson Farms and Purdue and other places.
Yeah, federal's only $7.25 an hour.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. So I'm like, a private in the military, makes more than somebody who's been working at some factory for the last, decade or two, and they're high behind the federal minimum wage.
Yeah, that type of pay would only work in a handful of states.
And
Like
I say
it'd
the
be
handful of
really
states
low income states.
tend to be Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida was right there with them for a long time. North and South Carolina plays that game. The Dakotas play that game. Montana plays that game.
Sarah's here.
They're sitting at the gate in St. Louis right now.
Yeah.
She got a 5-hour layover.
Yeah, they hide behind the federal minimum wage, and they say, "Oh, we're paying more than the federal." I said, "You're paying a couple of dollars, and the federal wage should be around at least 12 to 13 itself."
So, Justin, is she coming back or is she still on the trip?
No, she's on her way back. She's on a 5-hour layover.
5 hours? Who booked
Yeah,
that
in
flight?
St. Louis. I don't know. That
Oh,
was
Don
She's
can
not-
show her the
she's-
sights.
She's
Don can
flying
show her
bush
the
country.
sights.
Where did she go?
who went to Hot Springs in Alabama or Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Is
Arkansas.
this for the company or
No, that was for her friend's wedding.
A wedding.
we like 5 hour later? I'm like, you could drive the rest of the way home. I'm like, holy smokes. I get pissed off. I got over an hour layover somewhere. I'm like, oh, I'm changing airlines.
I think she got the ticket really cheap because of it too, though.
Yeah, I'm like, shh.
I think her ticket was only like $300 or 300 and something.
And that
It
was
right under
round trip.
400. Yeah. But I mean, direct flights are always a lot more expensive because of the convenience of not having to
Well,
stop.
I would think just because she's married to you, she'd be flying first class.
The,
I can't afford first class.
the-
Hey, you know what,
expensive.
Justin? I found out my last trip to Georgia in January. I will fly first class from now on. And I tell you why, not because of the convenience or the extra luxury, nothing like that, is that when you fly any of the rest of the economy, whatever, they nickel and dime you to death that you should have went and paid money for first class. Because you pay the ticket at first, then you got to pay for extra luggage. Then they want you to pay for what seat you want. And that stuff is like 30, 40 extra bucks. Each leg of the flight. So if
Every
you gotta
seat, yep,
flew from here to Houston, had to pay an extra $55 for the seat I wanted. Then I had to pay another 40 something bucks for the seat between Houston and Georgia. It's next $90. That's just going one way. Had to do the same thing coming back, all that kind of crap. I said, dude, I could have paid the same amount of money and flew first class.
Dre's like, this ass don't touch nothing but first class seats.
Oh no, I can say I'm cheap. Believe me, I'm cheap. I'm cheap, but I like to have the convenience too, dude. I am cheap. I look at those first class prices and I get a little skittish. And I'm like, oh man, but then this last time I just really started calculating up the amount of money I spent, for to get a decent seat, all this kind of stuff and everything else. And I said, dude, I might as well have paid first class.
There is
Mhm.
I think one or two airlines that still let you check one bag free, but there's a lot of
Yeah,
them.
most of them
let
do
you.
the one bag free. But like I say, when I gotta pay, flying across country, I gotta pay almost an extra $100. And the flight itself was only about $200 difference between economy and first class. I'm like, shoot, I'm flying.
When you
first
hauling
class.
a cart and a half of luggage of your wife's.
Oh yeah, if I travel with my wife, that's
damn, how much shit did you bring with you? God.
And she's so skittish about flying now that she don't even want to go anywhere. So we're going up to Solvang because I got sick and during spring break, so we missed that one. So we're going on our anniversary and drive
I
up
mean,
there.
I'm not
How long of
really-
a drive is that?
It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hour drive.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. It's like same distance going to Vegas.
Man, I want to go back there so bad. I went one time. I want to go back.
Look up the minimum wage in Montana, Justin.
All right, hold on.
Dre, are you going back to the drone meetup in Nevada in November?
I want to, yeah, I probably end up doing it just because I know I will have a overall better time. But I am very tempted to go to the UAV show in September in Vegas also.
All right, so they had an increase from $10.30 an hour, and as effective of January 1st, 2025, it went to a whopping $10.55.
10 cents an hour more.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, like some
Uh,
states just be like,
it's 25 cents.
yeah, they be ooh. And like I say, that's why a lot of these decisions that are being made at the highest level of our country, and people talk about who's going to be affected. These other folks are going to be affected.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you'd live comfortably off of if you went by their minimum wage would literally you'd have to be in like a little rink-a-dink town that hasn't had any growth in 50 years and everything's super cheap. You know,
Yeah,
other
but I
than
mean,
that,
like I say, even these little rinky-dink towns have to do business with bigger corporations to get the stuff shipped to that little town.
oh, I'm saying just like houses and stuff like, you
Yeah,
know, how,
housing would be cheaper, but I'm talking about just like the everyday stuff. You go out to the grocery store, you get fuel. It costs more to get it there than it did the day before, and
because like in North,
that's
the
where it
town,
gets you.
the town I live in, used to live in North Carolina, like if you wanted to rent a 3-bedroom house there, dude, you're only looking at like 700-800 bucks a month.
Mm-hmm.
Versus here, it'd be 2,000 to 2,300.
Right.
But you also get paid less there, and it's harder to find a job there because I mean there is like a Lowe's and a Walmart and a few big corporate stores, but
Right.
most of the businesses there are all mom and pop stores. Everybody's been working there their whole lives. They don't even have applications. You
Yeah,
go in there and ask
like I
for
said,
application, they're like, "What?"
mom and pop, which means they got Junior and Junette and nephew Tommy and niecey Junie and whoever
Or
else
friends
working.
of family. It's
Yeah.
all close people if they know. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd go in there and ask in some of these places, "Do you have an application?" They would look at you like, "The fuck's an application?"
Right. So that's the ins and out of our country is not just one economy across one edge to the other edge. It's a variety that you have to
Oh
take in
yeah,
consideration.
every little town's its own economy. Every county,
Mm-hmm.
every state.
Like I said, it's the bigger things that hurt people. Like you say, they were talking about. I watched a news show last night, and they're talking about some of these small hospitals may start closing up because they rely upon because most of their clients are on Medicaid. So if you cut people off Medicaid, if that actually happens, they're not going to get these customers coming into the hospital. So some of these small hospitals are the only hospital maybe within an hour. Now folks got to travel twice as far to the next hospital. So what does that mean? People are not going to go, not going to get the necessary treatment that they need. So you'll have more folks going in for more serious ailments and have longer stays because they don't have access for the regular, maintenance treatments.
Well, that's the bad part about living in really rural areas. Anyway, one of the downsides is
Yeah,
you may have a hospital in your area, but they don't deal with like really serious shit. So if
right,
you end up getting really hurt, they're gonna have to flight you somewhere else that's 3 hours away. You know.
right. Yeah, I mean, these are all things to be considered. When we talk about these different changes to our our, our policies or as some folks call entitlements or whatever. And like I say, it may not affect me as much or Lance or Don or whatever cases, but it's going to affect a whole lot of other folks who don't have may not have the options. I mean, I live in hospital heaven where I'm at. I got at least 5 hospitals within 15 minutes of me.
I got
One was in less than 5 minutes, less than 3 miles from me. I got a hospital.
I have
Another one
three.
across town. I got one of the
No?
world's best children's hospital within 15 minutes of me in Loma Linda.
Oh yeah, Loma Linda was always considered
And
that in
then
UCLA.
Kaiser is everywhere. You know,
I have
here in
four
California.
within. I'd say I got four within, and I'd say the farthest one's probably a 20-minute, 25-minute drive. So
Yeah.
That'd be the farthest one. So I got 4, and then there's 3 of them within 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, even one hospital closed in my area, it wouldn't drastically affect the availability of medical care where I live
And Loma Linda and UCLA were always considered really top-notch hospital.
in. Yeah. And those are some of the reasons why people do move to certain areas is the availability. Like I got the VA hospital close by. There's people who travel all the way across California to get to this VA hospital in Loma Linda. Because the next VA hospital, I believe there's one, used to be one in Long Beach, but that one shut down. I think there's one in LA. Not sure where it's at. And after that, you got to travel, I think maybe all the way down to San Diego, which is another 2 hours, or maybe going up north somewhere.
All right.
But like I said, once I retire, I'll be going straight to the VA. So all you guys to pay for is my wife's medical coverage, because I'll be going to the VA. VA won't touch me right now, as long as I still work for the city.
Oh yeah, I've met people that had to travel 3-4 hours just to go to a VA.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to consider, when they talk about
Matter of
minimum
fact,
wage.
I think Lynn, that's why she used to take her RV to the VA, because I think she had to go 2-3 hours away,
Yep.
and she would drive her RV there, and actually camp out in the parking lot
Right.
when she had to go do that.
Yep. And you would think, how far are you from Detroit, Paul?
50 miles.
Okay, that's about an hour drive or so, probably an hour and a half of traffic.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that they don't have a VA in that area, Dearborn or somewhere else.
Here's some pictures Sarah sending me off from the plane.
So you flying Southwest, huh?
Yeah, you can tell at the tip of the plane.
Yeah.
Little video.
What's that smoke? Oh, that's the clouds.
Oh God, don't say that. She's
Ah.
been freaking out ever since she left the other day.
Oh man.
It's not her first time flying. She just
Hey, with everything that's happening nowadays, dude, everything makes people. That's why my wife don't want to go nowhere. She's afraid something's gonna happen.
I understand there's been a lot of like wrecks lately and stuff, but still the amount of planes that fly every day, your chances are still really low.
I know.
Like
I said, I don't worry about it, because planes have been going down since aircraft been invented.
I mean, if you look at the video, if you go to the maps of like the live maps of all the planes in the air,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it just looks like a clusterfuck up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's so thick when you just look at like the overhead maps that you would think that these planes are just like fucking dodging each other left and right, but they're really not.
Take a nap.
Yeah, I know, right?
Dude,
Take a
I'm-
nap
Dude,
and
like
just woke up an hour ago.
the other day, I had to stay at the store till like, what was it, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, because they had to come in and wax the floors and strip them and stuff. Oh man, that shit took forever.
You sound like you were doing it.
No, it was two other guys doing it.
So I remember days when I had to strip and wax floors.
Sarah said I gave a side eye to a few looking suspicious people.
Oh, you be doing that too, man. Post get on a plane, you be like, hey, wait a minute, he look kind of
9/11
And it ain't-
flashback.
Yeah, well, not so much that you be eyeballing everybody. One is somebody drunk or somebody he looked like he might be starting something. So
Some little 80-year-old lady.
That's the first person I'm gonna knock upside the head. I hear him pop off.
Some 80-year-old ladies in there sorting her pills trays, looking at her, oh, fucking drug dealer on a plane.
No one's above suspicion, dude. No
Uh,
one's above suspicion.
well, that one movie with Clint Eastwood in it, where he was driving drugs because he was an old guy in a pickup truck
Right.
and they didn't suspect it was him. It was
Mhm.
just he just drove right across
Yeah.
country with all that shit in his truck.
The
Yeah, I
mule.
think I get out of watch
Yeah.
one, the mule. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's just a little old man driving in his old pickup truck. Nobody thinks anything twice,
Mhm.
Doesn't look
And
at
he
him
wouldn't
twice.
follow any patterns because he'd just take his own little, he'd go off on his own little jaunts and he'll get there when he gets there. And it just,
Yeah.
a mule doesn't act like that. A mule goes point A, point B. No, he'd go here and he'd just
Yeah, they'll end up
stop at
taking
that
them.
cafe. And
They'll take the most efficient route, and then that ends up turning into the cops realize that's the drug, route
corner.
that everybody's taking. Yeah, and then they start
You
pulling
hear
over
what
everybody.
you hear what Sarah just put in the chat, Justin?
I'd love to see something pop up. She wants to see somebody get dragged out of the plane.
If she wants to see somebody get dragged out of a plane, all she has to do is say, I have a bomb.
Oh God! Please have your headphones on.
And then she'll get dragged out of the plane.
Mhm.
It's like that. It's like on the movie Meet the Parents or whatever.
Step
Oh,
off,
God.
bitch.
Just gotta make sure you got your phone
Step
on.
off, bitch.
He said, "Oh, you're scared because I said bomb, 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 bomb."
Yeah, bomb, bomb, bomb. You can't say bomb on an airplane.
He said,
What's
"Not
on
me,
the
someone
agenda
else."
this weekend, Lance? Got a nice long weekend coming.
Say that one more time, Dre.
I said, what's on the agenda? You got a nice long weekend coming.
Oh, I know. Not a lot. Just gonna hang out. Yeah. But,
My wife and I were talking about that. Was it last night? Whatever. She's like, "Well, you sound like you don't want to grill." I'm like, "I didn't say I didn't want to grill. I'm just trying to find out what your plan is, because I'm always last to know who's showing up, who ain't showing up, and if we having burgers and hot dogs, and we gonna get a couple slabs of ribs or something. I don't know."
Man, that sounds delicious.
Oh, Dre Al's talking.
Burgers, hot dogs, and ribs.
That's all.
That sounds amazing.
yeah, we have 4 days off. We have Friday's a snow day that we did not have to use, and then of course Monday's off. So, but my wife only has 3 days off, so I have Friday off by myself. Hanging out with my daughter.
Is she
You
glad to
only
be
have
home?
one child, right?
Yeah, I only have one child, and yes, she's glad to be home. She's loves her own bed.
Mhm. Well, that's why I understand why you guys spoil her death. So I got 5 to spread the love. So
Yeah.
I like to see them come and go.
Yeah, I'm sure when you have that many, you're glad to see them.
Well, with
Glad to see them and glad to see them
that
go.
many kids in the house, it's a wonder you didn't have one of those revolving doors installed in the front of the house.
I wish it was that way, Paul. I still got 2 of them still up, living in the house with me. And then the other ones, and what gets me, the one that lives on the next block over, we hardly ever see him. He'll come by on holidays only, probably. And then is the brother below him, he came by early in the week to clean out the rest of the chili we had from the weekend from the cold weather.
he's the kid that shows up to eat all your leftovers.
Yeah, he'll come. He definitely shows up for all the holidays and stuff to come get food for a couple of days and stuff.
Jason,
And,
what up?
Then the oldest girl, she lives upstairs. Then the one below her, she's always asking for money, so I don't like when she comes over and stuff. And then
Well,
there's
that sounds like Joe's situation.
then the baby, she's upstairs still. I mean, when I say baby, she's 24 years old, but she's the baby.
I totally see Dre with his one son. that
Hey,
eats everything.
Jason, how
Who
you
the hell
doing?
ate my bonbons? Fuck. You just come home and find them just like freaking knee deep in your fridge. Just
No, I'm like I say, I'll come home from work and say, especially at usually when I barbecue a lot of meat that should last about most of the week. Like I said, if I go get ribs, I'll go get maybe about 2 or 3 slabs, have them cut vertically, St. Louis style. So we got about 6 slabs of ribs. And I'll come in there like on a Tuesday and Wednesday and say, "What happened to all the ribs?" Oh, Travis came by.
He knows all the blind
he
spots.
just sat there in the kitchen eating ribs. He didn't
Yeah.
put any carbs or anything in there with it. He just ate the ribs.
Yeah, and I say he'll come get ribs, potato salad, he don't care about no vegetables. He's like, ribs, potato salad is all he needs. He's good. With some baked beans, maybe.
Well, that's why Dre didn't know where the ribs went, because his son knows all the blind spots in his camera system. Just
Yeah.
sneaks on. He's like, let me get those ribs. Let me get a
Yeah.
little bit of the ribs.
Yeah. It's something else, but I love them all. Love them all.
Hey, you might want to check your admin status on your security system, see who's logged in there. You might be deleting
Now,
shit.
Dre, you have grandkids?
Huh?
You have grandkids?
Yes, I have 5 grandkids.
See, at a certain point, you stop caring about the kids and you just put all that energy into the grandkids, right?
Yes. Yeah, like I say, my oldest granddaughter, matter of fact, she just turned 19 in March. And like I say, she gets all my hand-me-down camera gear.
Yeah.
So last Christmas she picked up my old original Rebel XT camera. I gave her a pocket gimbal camera that I picked up about a year before. I gave her a couple of old GoPros 4 and 5s on gimbals. I gave that to her because she had a class out here in California. They have, I don't know if they might do what you're at, Lance. I think they do, because you mentioned before, they do they call a portfolio for all the seniors to do all their presentation at the end of the year. So they have this class almost like a what's the term I'm looking for, Lance? I want to say not electronics, but it's like a
robotics.
Not that fancy. I would say it's more like towards yearbook type stuff, where they're using cameras and stuff, basically to document their time in high school.
Like a multimedia class.
Yeah, there you go. Multimedia class, basically what it is. And that's what they do their senior projects with. And so I made sure that she was well taken care of, that she had every little tool that she needed and stuff.
And then they do their presentation?
Yeah, I didn't see the presentation, but I just want to make sure, you tell Grandpa, he gonna make sure you got what you need and extra.
What's really sad is when you go to your kid's presentation and all the other kids are getting up and you're like, Jesus Christ, my kid sucks. He did not put the effort in on this presentation.
That's why I eliminate that possibility. I said, I gave you all the tools. I know I'm giving you stuff better than what the school had, because the school usually has a little bit of equipment for me to use. And usually it's even older gear than what I have.
Donald gives him no participation, love.
Yeah. I guess I say, hey, you got this camera for your still shot.
Oh no. On the drive home, he's like, how did I do it? I go, you did okay. The kid that was 2 kids before you, awesome. That was amazing. I mean, that kid's gonna do things.
He's going places. I don't know about you, though.
What kind of a look does the grandkid give you, Don?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my son.
Oh, your son.
No, with the grandkid, he's going to be like, that was amazing. Awesome. Why his son's sitting there just listening to him praise the grandkid.
No, I didn't do that to my son.
She's the oldest. After that, they the next set, the next ones, which he, according to my dad, will be the heir to the Crawford family empire. But he is the firstborn male grandchild, great grandchild. So he automatically inherits that. That's how old school my dad is. He feels all the daughters get the chance to get married off, but the sons will carry on the family name.
Dre walked into the living room. Are you ready to take the responsibility? Yeah. An all mob speech.
Mm-hmm. So that's how that works out. And he's the son of my second son, TJ. But it's just T and a J, not TEE.
Yeah, but on Facebook he has this put as TJ, not with the 2 E's. So I don't know which way he goes by. He identifies by like 5 different names.
Yeah, like because Andrew from Hike and Fly, he says Teejay.
Mm,
Jay.
yeah. So like I said, he has a little brother, and then my middle daughter, my money pit daughter, she has two girls, and they spend almost as much time at my house than they do at their own house. My wife had actually told her, "Hey, no, not this weekend. I want to relax. No grandkids this weekend."
Man, it was funny. Like the other day when we were on here, there was this one guy that came in the chat, and Ed was on here, and there was this one guy in the chat, and he was like, "Justin, how do you pronounce that one name?" And Justin's like, "Ed, word of advice: don't ever ask me to pronounce something."
Then I told you. Yeah, how much shit Donald's giving me about my pronunciation of words?
Pronunciation, not pronunciation.
I know, I did that on purpose just for you. Like somebody will come in there with like a name that's all bunched together, and it does say something, and then I'll look at it wrong, and I'll fucking butcher it.
Yeah, if Justin wants me to chime in or join the panel, he'll do that. It's a little Velcro dog I can't resist.
Velcro dog.
We used to call it Velcro dog. If you had a client that you had a feeling was gonna be difficult, you'd make something that was glaringly catch their eye, and they'd want to change it. And so we'd put this little Velcro dog on it. So they'd grab that and tear it off and leave the rest of the ad alone and just take it and go after that little Velcro dog, pull it off. And
Okay. A good strategy.
It sometimes worked. About 30% of the time. The rest of the time, people are just pains in the asses anyway.
Yeah.
You say something about me, Don?
Yep.
Wait, which is he? The 30% of the time or the pain in the ass all the time?
Well, I heard pain in the ass, so I figured he's referring to me.
No.
I was like, no, you're bigger than me.
So Don and Justin, I figured you guys watched the Andor season.
I am almost done with season. No, I think I'm halfway through season 2.
I have not watched any Star Wars TV show. I'm done with Star Wars. I was done with Star Wars after the third movie in the sequels, the whatever it was, Rise of Skywalker, I think.
Yeah.
Andor's not bad. I think it's pretty good.
Rise of Skywalker. There was no Skywalker
It's starting to get really good, Justin.
Yeah.
I mean, the second season is way better than the first season.
And then The Last of Us, I started watching the second season of that too. Is out.
Yeah, but I tell you this: when you watch the last episode, you're gonna want to, if you have the copy or whatever you may have digitally, you're gonna want to go watch Rogue One right after the last episode.
Okay.
Rogue One was.
I did enjoy Rogue One.
Okay, like I say, this series.
Rogue One wasn't necessary, but I did enjoy it. But I have not watched any of the TV series.
But that's what I'm saying. By itself as a movie, you get to question: was this necessary? Did it really move the storyline? But when you watch this season, it brings it all together, dude. Especially
I didn't mind
a couple of episodes.
I didn't mind any of the Star Wars movies. I thought they were all good because I looked them as their own little adventures, each one. I don't get that.
Rise of Skywalker. Where was the Skywalker that rose? There was not a Skywalker that rose.
No, she took the name at the end of the movie.
She called herself a Skywalker, but she wasn't. She was a Palpatine.
I know that.
See, he looks too much.
Ben was not a Skywalker. His mom was Skywalker.
He was part.
His mom was he was half, but he had some lineage there, but he was Ben Solo.
Like I can say, you always take the father's name, but he got his powers from his mother's side of the family.
It's supposed to be a high of 95 today, Brenda. 83 right now.
Yeah. After that, I was like, you know what? That is, I enjoyed the trilogies from my childhood. I will leave that in childhood. And at the age of 50, blah, 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 whenever that movie came out, I can put away my childish toys.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering now, because now you see all these different things on Facebook talking about there may be a Vader series. I'm thinking, well, they cover Vader pretty much in all the movies. The evolution of Vader.
Oh,
It's like,
I
can
mean-
we please get away from the Skywalkers?
did you see what they added into? I know you guys don't play Fortnite, but they added Darth Vader in there, and you can go get him. You can battle him, and then he'll
Yes.
become part of your team. And then they've hooked AI up to him, so you can actually have conversations with him while
Uh-huh.
you're playing.
And
people
he
have got him
says some spicy things.
Yeah, he does.
Now, James Earl Jones gave permission
Oh
for his
yeah,
voice.
Yeah, from the
And
very original
this-
movie.
and Screen Actors Guild or whoever, they are mad because the company used his voice without their permission. It's like they don't need your permission. They got it from the man himself.
yeah. No,
But
well,
they
they're
wanted to
pissed.
get a cut of it and get some negotiation.
Yeah, like I say, James Earl Jones never thought Star Wars was going to take off like it did, and he signed
Mhm.
away the rights on the first movie and never got a dime more after that. But I'm thinking, like I said, they got the AI rights, so they can reproduce his voice.
Yeah, well, he
Well,
sold the rights to his voice like later on.
Well,
It was
Yeah,
later in
I thought
life.
it was when he first did the
He was
movie.
only in
took
like
his regular
well,
pay.
he,
I
well,
thought it was
he did the voice in like he was in like three or four movies. He was in
Yeah.
the Field of
TJ
Dreams. He did
TJ, have
the
you
vo-
ever seen any movie with a voiceover? It was James Earl Jones.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was actually in the Field of Dreams movie.
He's in a
Yeah.
lot of movies, but
he's in a lot of
was,
movies.
I would
Yeah.
say he was more well known for his voiceover work than he was his movies.
Yeah, and the two most
Yeah.
famous voiceover work was Star Wars and the CNN entry.
And
was the
And
Mufasa.
he did both.
He was also the voice of Mufasa in Lion King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of the Lion Kings, the cartoon one and the animated one.
And don't forget Coming to America.
Well, he
On the
was in
Oh
it.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Coming to America.
He even
I
did
mean,
the
you guys are selling
voiceover
this
for
man
Click.
short.
Yeah, even.
I mean, he
But
had
what
a
I'm
great
s-
career. Yeah,
But the
Wait,
thing
he did-
is
career.
James Earl. James
Wasn't
Earl.
he in that
What?
Richard Pryor racing movie? What was that
He
racing
might
movie?
have been. I mean, he's been in so many movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he played the Great White Hope, the Jack Johnson role.
Is he still around?
No, he
No, he
died
died.
about a year or two ago.
Yeah, and he sold off the rights for AI to do his voice shortly before he died.
Yeah,
He
it's
was
probably-
like, okay, yeah, sure.
And I
Make
bet
my
he got a good
money
chunk of money.
make my family some money.
Mhm.
Same
So he
thing
licensed
that
it out.
well, it's the same thing that Bruce Willis did with his likeness,
Mhm.
so they could make future action movies with him in it.
Yep.
He got his family a shit ton more money right before he goes off the deep end from his disease he's got. But James Earl Jones has that one voice that when you heard it, there was no mistake, and you knew it was him.
Right.
Like you didn't have to say who. Oh, I've heard that voice before. You just knew it was him.
Well,
period.
that's what I'm saying about the Star Wars. Unless you really hated Star Wars and those type of movies, everybody's heard his voice in Star Wars. Everybody who watched CNN News heard that entry for the last 30, 40 years.
This
is
CNN.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Screen Actors Guild, the union or whatever it is, that's
Mhm.
suing. I think that's just blatantly just like
They
they just
wa-
have the rights to tell you who you can use when.
They
don't own
wanted some money. They didn't get any money from this, and it's
Right.
They're
Which I
going to get.
feel if it's a personal attribute, they should not be able to touch it. That's his voice. And what gets me is that, if you ever know his real story, he started with a stutter
yep.
child and overcame it, and here he is, got one of the most recognizable voices in our generation. Or either
He talked about
last-
that in an
yeah,
interview.
three
That was a
generations.
2020 interview that he talked about that, wasn't it? Back in the 90s.
Not about. I heard about back in the 80s about his background and how he overcame his speech impediment.
Well,
And
you
now
know
he's
those
back.
guys that are always on different channels that do voiceovers of people? I haven't heard anybody do James Earl Ray.
I love his voice.
James
Oh,
Ray. All you gotta do is
Oh.
follow around a shotgun, right? No, it's a rifle.
Wait, who? James Earl Ray. That's
He's the one that
He
shot Martin Luther
shot
King.
Martin Luther King Jr.
That's why Don and me shaking our heads were off the bat. What he said.
That made me laugh. I happened to stand today, I think. I sat down in that chair and I almost threw my back out.
Are you done with the buggy now?
No,
The buggy's never done, Paul.
No, it's a constant
Next
project.
step, right now I'm trimming out those little doors on the box, and
Okay.
I should have the box in. I'm hoping tonight or tomorrow. It depends. Like I said, I just sat down in this office chair and about threw up my back. While I'm standing up right now, kind of moving, hoping that twinge goes away. But I'm hoping to have the box in tonight, tomorrow. Next step is to put new wheels and tires on it.
Well, I know you were pricing the wheels and tires.
hmm That's my next step.
Where'd you get the best? Where'd you find the best price?
I haven't bought them yet.
Oh, yeah, but
Next
you don't
step.
just wing it. You just don't wing it. You've got a plan.
no, he wings it. He makes plans on that whiteboard, and then he slowly erases each one he tries to complete.
Not on this whiteboard. I have a whiteboard out in the garage that I really should hang up and make my next steps on the buggy.
See, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you?
Oh.
This is Don, the fiddler at his best.
Well,
Fiddler.
I do want to at some point buy a new wiring harness and go through it and rewire.
Bone, what do you want?
But that's not a necessary project. That's just a wanna project.
Yeah. Well, I get what you got the fever from your son because he needs to go get another wiring harness for that Mazda.
No, you didn't hear?
No.
He had switched the two connectors from his starter to his oil sender, his oil pressure sender. And so when I went out and it wouldn't crank, and I hot wired the solenoid and it cranked. I was like, oh, we broke that wiring harness when we were pulling it out because it did hang up when we were pulling it out.
Bone.
I automatically jumped to that conclusion.
Okay.
Well, once we started up and it was running, he's like, oh, the oil pressure isn't showing either. I'm like, it's in that same section of the wiring harness. We probably broke
Right.
both of them at the same time. That's my assumption. We probably broke both of them at the same time. I never thought, oh,
You switched the connection.
you switched the spade connectors.
Mm.
So he figured out that the other day. I was like,
Well, that's a one less headache, major headache.
He comes in and goes, I was just messing, and I think they're the same connector. I think we'll just pull the oil sender, plug it into starter.
Switch it around.
It won't do anything when you hit the ignition if that's not what it is. But if it is, you'll know instantly that it's fixed. No, he had to look up and see exactly what color wire and do all the details first. It's like, okay, do it the slow way. You could know right now whether or not that's what it was.
Don, he is his father's son.
Yeah, I guess.
You would do the same thing.
No, because I do know some basic troubleshooting.
Yeah, but just your methodology of doing stuff.
But
Similar
him, he's
to
like
that
he
right
he
there.
was very particular. He wanted to make sure, and he did, and he swapped him back, and that was what it was. And so he might be out in it right now. He's head out on the road driving it. The clutch plates in the differential are grabbing a little too hard right now. They will grab a little bit. He's got a limited slip that he put in.
Yeah.
Why? He
Well,
said,
traditionally Mazda's always had limited slips, the old ones.
he wanted this new differential because it would grab harder for racing. He wanted the posi fill.
Okay. Because the
And-
the original RX-7, the RX-3s, the RX-2s all have posi RANs.
The RX.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. RX-2, RX-3, RX-7s, all posi. You can wrap them things up to about $8,000 and drop the clutch.
Well, what is going on right now is that he is getting some grinding noise at low speeds. And so we're gonna eventually he's gonna put in the additives to kind of help that a little bit, but we're probably gonna have to drop it and flip a couple of there's several plates in there. And right now they're just grabbing too hard at that low speed. So we think we're gonna pull it out, flip a few of those plates around opposite so it doesn't grab quite as hard.
You get a lightweight?
Hmm?
Do you get a lightweight flywheel?
Nope. He didn't change out the flywheel.
If you want it for racing, you should have went with a lightweight flywheel.
He doesn't want it for racing. That's the thing. That's the thing.
I thought you said he wanted to get it for racing.
He wanted it because all the race guys with the MX-5s get these different get to change out the differential, and that's kind of what he wanted. It's like he doesn't no use for it.
Okay.
But he tried to justify it, saying, when we get ice and snow around here, I'm like, what, 4 days a year?
I'll let you know my X4 will be here tomorrow.
Nice.
No,
I still have not pulled the trigger. I did a low altitude flyover the other day over at Best Buy for the X5.
low altitude flow. When you drove to the parking lot.
No, I walked in. I walked over and looked it over and.
Oh, you actually went in. So we call that a show of force.
Is that the new camera that's coming out?
When you walk in, that's a show of force.
Yeah, that's a 360.
That's the next step of executing.
The 360 action camera.
Yeah, I've been working with this Fusion, and I'm just not sold on the quality. I used it again in a video, and I had to really play with it for what part of the 360 there. I felt it was somewhat usable in the rest of the video. So I really, looking to see what this X4 is going to do with its 8K and see if it at least comes up to 4K quality. Because yesterday's video I used my phone and I used the Fusion, and it's almost like night and day. And I said that's not workable for me.
Well, that
I
camera's
I
also.
use it a small clip it, so it's not as noticeable, especially on YouTube. It's not that bad on YouTube.
Yeah, but isn't that camera pretty old though?
Yeah, the Fusion is old. Everything electronic is old the moment you walk out the store with it and stuff. But the technology itself is not that old as far as the leaps and bounds of evolution. What's next? This Fusion is supposed to be 5.2K, and that but you're talking about two cameras, so this divide, like Don said, you divide it up, and you're basically just getting a little bit above 1080p. But it doesn't even, to me, it looks more like 480. It's barely getting 720. So when you're trying to mix it in with other footage, it's very noticeable.
Is there something you might be doing wrong though, since you just
started very much, Justin. That's why I say I'm keep playing with it. I'm taking it out. Trying to use it. I'm just noticing that even the best parts of it, which I actually try to use, is, like I say, the resolution is just not there. And it could be that, it's a used camera I got. So it could be something in the camera itself, or it could be me. And so when I get this Insta360 X4, I'll be able to determine is it me or not, because then you're also talking about software, which I'm trying now with this GoPro one. You got to use
The
your
old
phone.
software is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, the software is not the easy to play with, and it's not the easiest to review, because you sit there and hit the key stone points, and then you play it back and you say, well, how come it didn't do what I keystone it to do? And then you transfer it over to another device to actually import it into something, and then it does what you said to do.
Yeah. Now I don't know if the software is going to update for the X4 or not. I do know that the X5 they
Mhm.
do have the auto tracking, so you can select something, it'll do that automatically for you.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I don't know
like
if
I
they're going
said,
to use the same
it
software or
could be a
not.
number of things, Justin. It could be me. It could be the camera itself. But like I was telling Don, it's like it's just as I pull out, go back to a flat view. It's it's like the outer edges get real soft, and when I go to the more of the tiny planet look, it
Mhm.
gets a little sharper.
Yep.
And that's what I don't like. I say even when I pull it out, even if it's 1080p, I want 1080p from edge to edge, not 1080p dead center, and on the outer edge it looks like 360 or
Well,
480.
the stitching algorithm has gotten so much better too.
Yeah, the stitching. I said I avoid the stitching by making sure, because I can tell the difference. Even the color profile from one camera to the other camera, you see it.
Mhm.
You see it. It's not identical.
Yeah, if you watch the video that I put up of me in that buggy and I was using the Fusion,
Hmm.
uh, hanging in the passenger seat, that means that I was right along the seam line, and you see that seam coming across my face like multiple times
Yeah. Well,
because
I'm saying like the front camera looks a little clearer than the
Mhm.
back camera.
Mm.
And that's what I'm saying
Probably
about
ice
the
cream, Jim.
resolution of both cameras is off. And that might be
Yep.
I bought the camera with somebody else and they
I
might have
knew it.
dropped it or something might have happened. Who knows?
It may have had a lens replacement that they
Yeah,
didn't quite get the focus on the lens exactly
right.
right,
Yeah.
or it may be out of the factory they didn't get the focus
Yeah.
exactly right.
That's what I'm saying. It could be any number of things because I didn't buy it brand new.
Because the way those lenses on the GoPros at least focus is as you screw them in, and then you screw them into a certain point and then you set them.
Right.
Jason's
And
got a
that may
pie in
be the
his roof.
point. Yeah, man. And like I said, my experience with this, that's what I said before, I would never do a full video with just this camera and this format. I'm just not confident enough that it would be something visually pleasing.
Well, I wouldn't do probably. I mean, I did that short little video, but I would
Mhm.
never do like a 360 long form because that's just.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Um, but using it for reframing, even using it for that type of thing and reframing shots, I probably wouldn't use it 100% of the time on a video because it becomes kind of boring using the exact same lens or camera or angles. And
Hmm.
it's the same with drone videos. If you put up a drone video and it's 100% drone, it's
Hmm.
not quite as interesting as if you mix in cell phone footage
Right.
and mix in other shots with
Well, I
it.
say I always say you use ground shots and then aerial shots.
Hmm.
You
I
mix
guess
them in
so.
together. It gives you a different perspective of what's going on, and it gives you more of a complete storyline.
It's just like how Justin does his gaming videos. He
Oh, those pieces of
shows
trash.
well, it's
Oh
it's
my
always from
God.
his it's almost always from his perspective, and it'd be so much more interesting if every once in a while he cut to the shot of a good player.
Yeah,
There we
really,
go.
because
There
he
it is.
plays like trash. I can get a small child out of Buford to play better than him.
See, Justin, I don't have to play the video game to trash talk. My uncle, he used to, whenever I was playing the Atari or whatever, he'd come in and he would always be like, I know a little blind Chinese girl that can play better than that. He'd never played a video game in his life.
Yeah.
And thing is, after the internet comes along and I see the prodigies from all these Asian countries where you have a 2-year-old, whatever your interest is, whatever your hobby is, look up Asian kid doing that hobby, and it'll make you feel like you're wasting your time.
Mm.
I play violin. Oh yeah, here's a 2-year-old playing the exact same song you're playing on the violin, and they're also juggling with their feet at the same time.
Now that's some talent right there, playing the violin while you're juggling with your feet. There's this girl I seen. She was born without no arms or hands or whatever, so she does everything with her feet. Like she'll drive with her feet and like get ready with her feet. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yep. There's a lady that was on Real People back in the day that was like that.
Mm-hmm. Funny you bring that. I was just listening to some classical music last weekend, and it was my cousin. She plays it's not the violin, it's the viola.
Viola, yeah, the next, yeah, a little bit larger.
Yeah, it's the cousins
it's
of
between
the violin.
it's between the violin and the cello.
Now I'll tell you about my cousin. She has 4 albums out. The first one was Grammy nominated and stuff. Her name was Alicia Nelson, and she's good. She's right up there. And I always tease her. I said, I can hardly put up listening to your albums because every time I listen to classical music, all I think about is the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. And that gets
Looney Tunes is
so much.
Yeah, Looney Tunes is a lot of our first introductions to classical music.
And I keep trying to tell her, I said, I can't help it. Just that's the only thing I associate with classical music is Looney Tune cartoons. And she shakes her head. She literally shakes her head.
No, I remember discovering the classical, like on the AM channel, the classical music on the AM channel when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I would put that on, I would close my eyes, and I could imagine cartoons.
That's my whole point. When you listen to music, you like to close your eyes, lay back. Oh, okay. And that's what I think. I think of Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd dancing on the stage, doing rabbits.
Kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit.
You know, and that's why I associate it with, are the beginnings of the beginning parts of a Foghorn Leghorn cartoon. They'll play the sun is rising, they'll play some classical music, for the sun rising and stuff.
They'll play Rites of Spring or something.
Yeah. And I just crack up,
Jason wanted to know why compare.
What's that?
Hey guys, I got to roll. I'll listen on when I get back, but I've got a meeting I got to go to.
Jason wants to know what?
Why do you need to compare people?
Who'd we compare?
When you were comparing like somebody playing the violin a minute ago. I don't know, he just said why compare. That's what he asked you after that. I was waiting for y'all to finish your conversation.
Don, if you know you're gonna feel about it, then why? Yes, when you compare, you despair. I get it. You can't compare yourself to anybody else. Yes, you do something for the love of it, not because you can be the best at it, because you'll probably never be the best at it. I get that. I was just making a point that my uncle used to always say,
You're fine. You're not really fine. You just can't get it.
Jason, because my uncle used to always say, I know a blind Chinese girl who could do that better than you about everything. And so that's why it was compared to the Chinese kids. It's because of what my uncle would always say.
That's pretty good.
That's funny. That is pretty good. Oh goodness.
So Dre, you're not working today?
Yeah, I'm working today. It's gonna be over 100 degrees though.
Oh wow.
So
Well,
yeah,
if you know how TJ does that at the shop when he goes to the store and it's hot, he wears a string bikini. Everybody goes. And he wears a little sign around his neck that says, "Pull my string."
Pull my string. That's funny. That's pretty good. That's
See, I
pretty
always
good.
heard starving kids in Africa, Jason. He's talking about starving kids in China.
People in China are starving for that. Up, Trevor?
At the end of the day, you just got to love first world
Hey,
problems.
Trevor. Jason said hello at 10:27. Jason must be in his truck.
Maybe that or the office one.
He might be home. Who knows?
I wonder what's going on at the airport.
Well, now,
most kids didn't really care with that argument, Jason.
your wife's on a layover at the airport?
Yeah, she was saying they just announced an alert and to secure the doors.
Where is she at?
Well, you said she was still at wherever.
No, Jason said he's working from home.
Oh, he must
Yeah,
have got a new.
10:15. She said they just announced an alert and to secure all doors.
Jason's working from home. He must have got something else from Amazon today. He's gonna do an unboxing live.
La 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 la.
Well, Justin she's doing if she's doing a layover still. Is her layover on the plane or did she deplane and is waiting in terminal?
No, you wouldn't be waiting on the plane that long. Not for 5 hours for a layover. No, she's sitting at her gate ready to get on her. But they actually moved her her everything back an hour, so she'll be back at 3:30 instead of 4:30. So her layover went from 5 to 4 hours. Yeah.
So what time does that flight take off to get back to you?
Oh, they're an hour behind, so I'm not entirely sure when it leaves. I would think from here to St. Louis would probably be about a 2-hour flight?
Yeah.
Hour and a half, somewhere in there.
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Like I said, originally her layover was supposed to be 5 hours, and then she was supposed to get in at 5:30, but they shifted everything back an hour. So.
So is Joe out and about today, or are you playing around with Johnny?
Probably a little of both.
He had some stuff to do last night. I don't know where he's at this morning.
Well, maybe he slept in.
I think him and Johnny went flying yesterday, I think, because I saw a video of them, and I think either Johnny or Joe had the Air 2S or whatever up, and they were doing a flyaway thing.
See, Joe will set alarms to get up. Why, when you don't need to get up and you have nowhere to go, you set alarms? I'm still perplexed by that.
It's a mental
Because-
habit.
I have woke up at 5:30 exactly every day for the last week. I don't know why.
You've gotten on your body's gotten on a natural clock.
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of time. I mean, Joe is most of his life, just like my life, has always been structured. To get up certain time, you do certain things, you be at certain places. Just because you don't actually do that anymore, your body continues to go
There
on.
ain't nothing structured about setting an alarm for 8 a.m. and then hitting the snooze button and getting up at 11.
I'm just saying, like Don was saying, for me, the difference between going to bed at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night. I will get up at around 3 a.m. 9 o'clock, I may get up at 4 or 5. There's an hour difference going to sleep. That's without an alarm clock. I'm just
Well, Dre, are you able to sleep through the night without having to get up and do the tinkle walk to the bathroom?
Very. If I go to bed even early, if for some reason I'm tired, I go get to bed at 7 p.m. I'll get up middle of the night, go tinkle around 2.
Yeah.
Other than that, if I go to bed at 8 or 9, I can sleep through the night.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. My alarm goes off, I immediately just get up. I don't ever hit the snooze button. As soon as it goes off, I'm up out of the bed.
Yeah, so it's a very,
Yeah, you never hit
I
this.
tell my wife, she said, "What's wrong? You get
I don't see the point in hitting it.
I have been this week getting up at 5:30. I've been getting up and go make my coffee and get around and just kind of wait. But today I woke up at 5:30. I was like, I'm thirsty. I'll go get me a glass of water. Got me a glass of water. Crawled back into bed and slept for another hour. Oh, so good. I went back almost instantly back to sleep and.
Yeah. For me, I said me and my wife both, even though we have an alarm, we're usually up before the alarm goes off, and we just turn it off at 4 a.m. and we watching the news, and we start to do our regular morning routine.
See, this is my thing, TJ, is
Yeah.
if you got to get up at 5 to go somewhere, and you're setting your alarm for 4:30 and you're hitting the snooze button 15 fucking times, you just lost a half hour of sleep if you would have just set your alarm at 5 and got your ass up when it went off the first time. But people will do that. They will literally set alarms an hour before they get up. They actually need to get up, and they will literally disturb their last hour of sleep every 10 minutes hitting the fucking snooze button. And I'm like, why even do that?
I just naturally get up early because my back starts hurting in the middle of the night, so I just naturally get up like at crazy hours, and I'll just come sleep on the couch until whenever. But like I don't really set an alarm. Like sometimes I do it when I have to be to work at like 7 a.m. or something. So like I'll just, and if I don't have to, then
The way I do it is if I got to get up at 5, I set my alarm for 4:50. It goes off. I wake up. I stretch, do a little stretching in the bed, yawn a few times, crack a couple knuckles, and then I get up out of the bed and I go. I don't sit and hit the snooze button 15 times because it annoys the living shit out of me. Like Sarah does it all the time, and then I got to listen to her alarm go off for a fucking half hour. Well, I'm trying to sleep.
I just naturally like wake up, like I'll just stretch and then get up and then yeah.
Nah, I find it easier just to get your ass up and go.
Yes. Well, I say because of my routine is why sometimes if I don't work on a Friday, I still come in and see you guys because I'm up already. And like like a Saturday, same thing. It's just me. That's my routine. I'm up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like I don't have to be going anywhere. It's just that's my routine. And
That's like on the
TJ said,
weekend.
I'm not that person who likes to lay in the bed. The most
Sarah
I'll
says
lay
she
in the
didn't
bed
hit her
is
snooze
maybe
today,
an
Justin.
hour.
Do what?
Sarah says she didn't hit her snooze today.
She didn't have a choice today. She had to get her ass to the airport. What I'm saying is like yeah, and then I got people like my sister that sets all her clocks. Like what is it, like 10 or 20 minutes behind to fool herself? I'm like, it's still the same fucking time. Why do you do that? Because it annoys me. I always go in her house and switch all her clocks back to the right time.
Well, that's just that just shows your nature. You're helpful, Justin.
I don't see the point in trying to fool yourself when it really doesn't change the fact that you got to leave at a certain time. Yeah, and she has the air raid siren, which is really fucking annoying. There's been a couple mornings I want to chuck her phone into the fucking wall. Because on the days if I happen to be home during the week, her alarm will start going off at 5, and it will every 10 fucking minutes till 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh my god.
All right, well, I'm gonna get off here and go have me some breakfast of some kind, maybe some cereal or oatmeal or something, and then take my mid-morning nap.
Mid-morning nap, like you have multiple naps throughout the day.
I know.
Well, I'm not going to take a mid-morning nap. I'm going to jump off too here. I may actually have to do some work today.
I like your little variety of snacks you got going on.
Yeah, he's got his own little snack table over there.
Oh, you guys like that?
Yeah, walking to Drake's offices. Are those for everybody?
Chocolate covered raisins. We got the
assorted nuts, and you got like your little breakfast bars, and like looks like some
trail mix.
Your trail mix. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. They come into Dre's office. Are those for everybody? Oh, I forgot. Those aren't supposed to be out.
Let me show you
Sticks them in his drawer.
inside the fridge.
Oh, he got a mini fridge. Look at that.
Oh, there you go. That's pretty nice. Got your orange juice in there, your apple juice.
Pineapple juice.
There you go.
Pineapple juice.
Yeah. All right. See y'all later.
All right, guys. We'll see you all later.
And then there was 2. Because Lance disappears about as much as Paul does.
Got that. Banners.
German Shepherd search dog just walked by, Sarah said. Make sure your meth is put up. All I can think of is that fucking, what was that German dude from Super Troopers? Finally some fun for both of us.
Mustache ride. I found fun. I found fun. You ever see the sequel to that, Super Troopers 2?
Yeah, it was sad too because they actually had to raise the money themselves to make that.
Yeah,
it was okay, but it definitely
was okay.
It wasn't bad for what they had to do themselves.
Yeah, their opening scene where they were talking about the penis in your asshole.
I think if a studio would have picked it up and had a good budget on it, probably a little bit better writers, it could have been a lot better sequel.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to pick it up, and I don't know why, because the first one was such a classic at this point.
It was. I was a fan of the Broken Lizard guys right after that. And after Super Troopers came out, I found Puddle Cruiser, which is the movie that they did before that. And it's really, really low budget. It was a college comedy. And but after Super Troopers, they came out with Club Dread.
Oh yeah, I remember Club Dread.
And a lot of people didn't like it. I remember the one scene, and that boy was me. And I lost my shit right there in the theater. I laughed for, I don't know how, maybe 5 minutes. It was such great.
I'm going to go back and watch that because I don't really remember it. I've seen it.
Well, people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't Super Troopers, but it was funny and it has a lot of funny bits. And it was a send up of a slasher movie.
As you know, and that's what sucks when you're an actor or a group of actors and you do one movie that's becomes such a staple.
Well, and all the comedians, they all went into doing this Club Dread and they all wanted to play different type of characters. Well, people didn't want to see them as different types of characters. They wanted to see Farva.
Right.
And they wanted all the actors to play basically the same parts in this different setting for whatever reason. But it's actually a really good movie. And it's got Bill Paxton in it. So that's one reason to love it.
I don't really remember it. I remember watching it when it first came out, but it wasn't a movie that I watched like a bunch of times. Like Super Troopers, I've seen a million times, so I know that movie like the back of my hand.
They did another one, a restaurant one called Slammin' Salmon, and it is not that great. If you want to watch a restaurant comedy, watch Waiting.
Oh yeah, Waiting was hilarious.
Do not ever watch Waiting 2. Waiting 2 sucks.
I've seen it. It wasn't even close to the original.
Waiting catches that feeling of being in a restaurant very well.
Yeah, it wasn't over the top.
And it's also very hilarious.
Yeah, it wasn't over the top.
Oh, it was over the top.
Well,
but the feeling of being in the restaurant was very accurate to the feeling of it.
Well, I would say the only thing that was really over the top was that game they were playing throughout the movie. But the banter back and forth is definitely a normal minimum wage.
The waitress walking back, they send the food back. She's like, absolutely. She walks back all happy. The second she said, "No, motherfucker."
Yeah, Naomi.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays the mom in the new Ted show.
Yes.
And then I noticed the other day that I never had noticed before. She and Meet the Fockers. She was the hot nanny that he slept with.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The Spanish nanny. Yeah, that was her. I was looking at her. I was like, oh shit, that's Naomi from Waiting. And I went and looked it up. Yeah, it was her.
Now, are they going to do another season of Ted?
I'm hoping they do because the first season was hilarious.
It was better than the movie.
I think so. The movies were funny, but the show was even funnier. I really liked it.
The show was hilarious, and it was perfect, and I think it was better than the movie.
And that's the one thing. Like even the Ted sequels were pretty funny, like in their own way. Like I had a laugh through all of them, but the show I definitely enjoyed even more. Like especially when they were in the church and he's trying to compare himself to Jesus. He was talking to the pastor. Yeah, well, that scene was one of my favorites.
66. This was Summerfest. You're dead. Dave.
Sarah said the German Shepherd's airport security search dog just walked by her.
Oh yeah, it was like 10 minutes ago. Yeah, I told her to hide her drugs.
You should have told her, go over and pet it and scruffle its fur. They love it when you do that.
Oh yeah.
Blow them kisses, right?
No, just
Oh.
run up to the dog and start playing with it.
It really depends on what kind of dog they're using, because sometimes they will use like for like kind of non-confrontational type settings like that. They might not have like a canine. It might be like a beagle or something like that they'll use.
Well,
I've
she
seen them
said it
use
was the
different
shepherd
style.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, she said it was a shepherd, but I have seen them in the airports use. I've seen beagles. I've seen
Oh my God.
like golden retrievers. I've seen them use different types of dogs just to look for drugs.
These are unusable.
What?
Somebody sent their banner ads that they're really proud of, and they're unusable. They had big artwork and they just grabbed it and shrunk it down to banner size, which is really small,
Uh-huh.
and it made all the font that, well, there's one section, a big. The only reason I know what it says is because I have seen the full size artwork.
But it like distorted it because they threw the resolution off.
Oh,
Or didn't do it right?
it didn't just distort it. I mean, it shrunk down so much that it's illegible. It's just pixels.
Yeah.
Actually, the other side, I don't remember what that says. I think it says something about movie night. But yeah.
Resizing a photo, yeah. It sounds like they didn't really know what they were doing, maybe. Or on their end, it looked nice until they sent it. Or their
See, that
standard.
one is usable. They sent me over 4 banners.
Is that for your
And
job, or is that for your side stuff?
no, this is my job.
Yeah. I thought you were doing more clerical stuff now.
I am. I put the orders into, I send them off. So I get creative coming in and I just funnel off to the place where it goes. But I look at the creative and it's like, I'm not making the creative, but I'm looking at it and I gotta tell them this is.
But you don't
Yeah.
actually have any. Technically, you don't really. You're just.
I
the
cannot.
middleman.
I cannot work on them.
Yeah, you're just transferring it from one person to another.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually call somebody on this, so I'm gonna leave.
Okay.
I guess we can shut it down, Paul. 'cause
Okay,
Lance is
Justin,
gonna-
we'll shut her down. I
Right.
gotta go take a shower and get ready to go to
What's
the
up?
doctor anyway.
Hey, how's it going, Michael? Sorry, my chat froze. I didn't see you in there.
Hey, Cool Cat and everybody in the chat, and Sarah, good luck to you. We'll see all of you again later today.
Later.